And we're live
Hey,
with Mr. Alec Hanson. He is the myth, the man, the legend. I actually have him in person, which I'm so fortunate. He ends up being a good friend of mine. For many people out there who might not know Alec or now know in the last 6 months to a year, he's been branding ambassador out there for digital branding.
Yeah.
He is the senior vice president, division manager of LoanDepot. He's behind, actually, as the new updated, $6 billion in annual production this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be. He has a few thousand people that he manages, I would say, a couple thousand people. He's also the creator and brander of Modern Lending and Show Up and Evolve.
Yeah.
Right, which is actually free to public as well, right? It's
Yeah,
free
absolutely.
to public. It's on showapevolve.com.
Yep.
Correct. He's also the author of Bypassed, the modern guide to local mortgage pros, left behind by the digital customer. And this is something today that resonates with everybody out there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Yeah.
Anybody's a sales, service, customer service, sales based. Digital is the way, especially now in a pandemic. He's done a fantastic job with explaining it. It's and also, where did all the proceeds go? This is on Amazon.
100% of the proceeds go to Freedom Alliance to support our veterans. Yeah.
Awesome. He's the man. The service he creates, the community he creates. He also does a lot of collaborations with a lot of podcast influencers these days.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn, Facebook, you can find him. Alec Hanson, Alec the Hanson. He's all over. Just Google the name. He's everywhere. He's pushing content, everything, very informative, educational content every day for free.
Yeah.
He is also owner and founder of CrossFit Costa Mesa.
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years. That's where actually we first met.
Yeah.
And a place that actually changed my life as well. And another service place that he's founded and created, which really brings on to the selflessness this man has. He does a lot for everybody, doesn't ask for anything, gives out free content, free information. It's for me, you're an amazing friend. An amazing person out there. There's some special people out there, and he's one of them because he never asked for anything in return, which is unbelievable. And I really think you're a great friend of mine. So today, I forgot you're also a loving husband.
Yes, 15 years.
15 years.
15 years.
And his anniversary is this weekend.
Yeah,
right?
it's the first. Yeah.
Oh, tomorrow it is. Tomorrow's his anniversary. He has 2 lovely kids, and man, this guy's accomplished a lot, and he's under 40. Can you believe that? Man, look at you.
I don't have much hair for under 40, but
you can see all the time and effort you put in, what's happened. But
yes, the wisdom.
Overall, I just want to say, where did this all begin, Alec? How did everything become the Alec Hanson we are today?
That's a really fun question. You have to go back to 2018, and you have to understand my story a little bit. So I was raised in residential lending and mortgage. And in 2003, when I started, the best path to get a customer to find who you could work with to serve them was to go out and go to open houses and go to what they call broker previews and find the best real estate agents and get them to send you customers. So it was pure referral networking. Yeah. And you have to remember, in 2003, you couldn't find what homes were for sale online. I had a Nokia phone with Snake on it. I had to print MapQuest to drive around, right? Like, thank God I didn't have to use the Thomas guide, but I still had to print like from this house to this house. How do I get here? You didn't know. And if you wanted to find out what houses were for sale, you had to wait for the weekends and get the newspaper. And so with that information being controlled and condensed, you had to go find real estate professionals to find customers. Fast forward to 2018, I was running my area, and my local professional loan officers I watched them, they were losing. They were losing because as a society, we've become an internet first culture. When we want information, we do not go to the local professional, we go to the internet. When we want knowledge, we want service, we want a product, we go to the internet first. And then we might go to our friends, maybe.
Yeah. Correct. I agree.
Well, that trend, the local mortgage pro wasn't on the internet. Meaning they didn't have a brand on the internet. They didn't have any space there. They weren't contributing to the conversations happening on there. The mega brands were, the mega companies were. And so things like Amazon happened, and you wonder what happened to the local hardware store. Well, Amazon killed them.
Yep.
And so these local mortgage professionals who tend to have 20 plus years of experience, who are they're the best consultants you should get to talk to. They were effectively being bypassed by the customer who never talked to them, didn't even know they existed. And so I realized that there needed to be a change. And I also realized that we had all the tools to make that change. I mean, this is crazy, right? Like who would have thought you'd be doing a podcast?
Who would have thought? I mean, in this position, my inspiration right here via podcast. But you're right, all the tools that we had in place, and I can go back to that, relate a lot to that, is how the consumer trend from 2003, 2018, we're inundated with our phones and buying everything online.
Of course.
Right? Everything is online. But I would say that the lending world, my electronics world, the decisions of the B2B or B2C of more technical, it changed, and then at that point, things had to evolve and move forward. And as I know with your platform, LoanDepot platform, the Mello platform, everything was digitalized. You guys went to a massive digital revolution.
Yeah. With the reality sort of in everything, it's become an influence game.
Yeah.
And so if you want to win in any business, in any industry, it's all about the level of influence you have within that industry.
Correct.
And so you can call that your brand, you can call that your character, you can call that your reputation. But if somebody needs to think of a mortgage, I need to get a mortgage, where are they going to go? And if they don't think of one of my professionals, we lose.
Yeah.
And so it's become this massive shift it's the gold rush. It's the gold rush. This will never happen again. What we're in right now as a phase, as a moment in time, will never happen again. But there are people who are starting to drive themselves in, put it through vulnerability and putting themselves out there. They're starting to build connection with other humans, and their businesses are tripling and quadrupling because now they're cutting through the noise of marketing and they're making real human connection. And that opens up all this opportunity.
Let's take that back for a second. Let's take that back for a second. We nailed something on the head right there, was the marketing, right? These big companies were spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on marketing, on branding, because we know
tens of millions on Super Bowl ads.
Exact Super Bowl ads and all this stuff, because that's what you said back in the day before digital. You guys all went digital. People knew a brand. Like, I'm going to go to the website, XYZ company is one of the biggest. I saw them on the Google and I want to go to them. They're top 1 or 2. I'm going to go to them because I just trust their brand, because I see them everywhere, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
I see them everywhere, but I really don't know anybody there. I just see their branding. But because they related to this guy spends a lot of money, so they must be a good company, correct?
It's the trap that these companies are falling into because they're vulnerable. With the I see them everywhere, that kind of mentality, that's vulnerable to all of a sudden they can see you everywhere now.
Yeah.
They can see IBS everywhere right
Correct.
now. And you didn't have to spend $10 million on a Super Bowl commercial. And you can humanize yourself. You can make a real connection with them to a person and the company. And that 1-2 punch is going to be very difficult for large organizations who are brand centric only and don't empower personal branding underneath that. They're going to come into some problems because personal branding is all about relationship.
Correct. 100%. And I agree with you 100%, because the electronics industry, which we're in, we have some big players, top 10, top 20, multi-billion dollar companies that are off a brand. That I've talked to some leaders and they all have the same thing. They all love to be the face, but they can't because there's a brand. And as I say, they're the status quo, this traditional brick and mortar big corporate, or some are private, some are public, and what they can and cannot do. And they don't understand that they need to pivot, embrace, and put a leadership, at least the leadership, put their face out there, connect. And then it just tears, because there's tears everywhere. And that's that human connection you think is in the sales, and it goes down to the salespeople.
Well, we're all in sales.
Yes.
Everything in the world is sales. If you're a teacher at a public school, you're selling those kids on your content, on your message, like on the power of learning. Like, we're all in sales. And so sales has become marketing slogans and commercials, and they've gone too far. And as we pivot back towards the human side of the world, we're going to see the companies that embrace that absolutely dominate their space, because it's relationship building, man. If I see you in a video talking about what you're passionate about, what you care about on a consistent basis, the next time I need to make a decision that could involve your company, I automatically have more of a connection with you than I do with a brand that is just putting up billboards and commercials.
Or at least give me the opportunity to win your business, because at the end of the day, you're asking for opportunity, right?
I call it earning a seat at the table.
Correct. Yes.
Earning a seat at the table. Doesn't mean you win every deal. It doesn't mean you have the best product, the best price, but it does mean you get to come to the table.
Correct.
And that gives you, anytime you can get an at-bat, you get better.
Oh, of course. Of course. For myself, I called it MBOs, new business opportunities.
Heck yeah.
And our focus is you put your name out there and brand and connect with the human connection.
Yep.
And it is myself as well. Last year, I've been very uncomfortable doing a lot of videos. But the problem is, of course, I don't
It's
look
uncomfortable.
well. I don't look my face. This is not beautiful.
You're a beautiful man. Dude.
My beautiful man. I mean, but just put yourself out there. It's the way you look, the way you do. But at the end of the day, it's who you are and also the service, because you have to back up, even though you get an opportunity, as you said, see the table, you have to back up all these skills and everything that you're selling, right? You have to back it up. And that comes to the referral side, is when someone has a good experience, or that is going to trickle down the referral side. Then, in my opinion, more than sometimes marketing does, because the word of mouth is so powerful.
Well, and not just that, because even like, let's say you get referred by somebody to you. That's great. It's like the best lead you can get. But guess what they're going to do? They're going to go on the internet and they're going to make their own decision. Because we trust the internet now almost as much as we trust people. It's kind of weird, but we do. And so they're going to go online and they're going to look. And they're gonna make a judgment of you and your company the second they experience you online. And the companies that are not going, how do we intentionally curate that experience that somebody's gonna get when they look at this? The companies that are ignoring that are gonna lose out, because they're gonna be invisible on the internet. They're not gonna have any humanization. You're not gonna go to, like you mentioned the comment about leaders.
Yeah.
Leaders need to lead from the front, and that means getting uncomfortable and showing your whole team it's okay to get uncomfortable.
Correct.
And those that aren't doing that and are saying, you go do it, you go get on the camera, they're going to fail.
They're not leading by example.
They're not leading by example, and they're going to fail.
Yeah.
And it's so self-evident to me, but the world is also clarifying it for everybody. You know, podcasts have become one of the major knowledge consumption vehicles in the country. And you're like, well, podcasts, why? Because that's where the real humans are. The unscripted, real people are talking about real issues there in those mediums.
Real discussions.
Look at the controversy over news. Like, who would have thought we'd be in an age where news would be discredited, where journalists who have made their whole career after this would instantly be discredited and have to prove themselves. And even then, there's still these people that are biased and go like, I don't believe that. And all of a sudden you see podcasts rising up because you realize, hey, these are unbiased. These are people that are just putting out their information, their viewpoint. And that's why people are consuming it.
Yeah, I mean, from that angle is, as you said, back to the I would say the Google. The first thing we do is that the way we make a decision these days, just like you said, if I want to buy something, I want some service, something, first thing you do is you Google it, right? You put the Google and see what content comes up, right? So any business, anything, and in our industry too, I've done the same thing. It's like, this person I want to talk to, this company, who's this company? And then I Google it and I don't see any videos. I see some pictures, I see some images, but there's not a lot of content.
In your world,
yes,
there's nothing.
Yes.
So in my world, there's lots of realtors. In your world, there's nothing. And this is the core truth, right? When you're making a decision of who to go into business with or who to use as a strategic partner or who to buy from, we always go to the likability first. Do we like this person and company?
Correct.
Because even how many times have we worked with companies where we're like, God, I hate these people, but they do such a good job, I'm stuck with them. But if anyone else could do half the job they could do, I'd dump them in a minute.
Correct.
We want to do business with people that make our lives better, that we like, that we enjoy, that are trustworthy, that we can rely upon. So you're being judged all day. And these companies are being judged and they're not coming into the table. They're not showing up.
Well, that goes with also the other end of privacy. I know a lot of people I've talked to, they were also concerned about the privacy because, of course, social media, they've had their Facebooks or these type of things out there, but also the privacy of who they want to put out, what they want to show because of privacy.
Well, look, go to Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Gary Vee's wife or kids?
No, we have not.
On anything?
No.
Do you know anything he does outside of his work?
I just know his father and how he loves his family.
And I've seen him play basketball.
And his wine, and his hobbies and his.
I've seen him play basketball. I've seen him collecting sport cards.
Correct.
I've seen him go shopping and buy like stuff off of the garage sales.
Correct.
But I've never seen a picture of his family. Guys, show what you want to show. The rest can be private.
Correct.
But you can't be private as a business professional. You got to let who you are as a business professional show up. Who are you like to work with? If I'm going to call you, are you going to answer your phone? Are you reliable? Like, you got to let that stuff show through. You can put all that stuff private for sure.
Correct.
People are like, oh, social media, it's all public. I'm like, no, it's only public what you show.
But that comes back to the point where the advancement of people, they don't know how to decipher or change it because there is a older demographic that isn't so savvy, and it takes them longer to learn to the new generation coming in. But at the end of the day, we all can learn all the information. All you got to do is go to the YouTube and YouTube how to change certain parameters.
I laugh all the time, dude. So, everyone wants to make this an age thing at times. And that's true and not true. The not true part is we all learned to drive a car. We all learned how to work our iPhones when they came out. We all learned how to work on Android. Like everyone.
Everyone.
Like
Even my grandma learned how to use an iPhone.
The percentage
and text on it.
The
She's 80 years
percentage
old.
of people who have like refused to learn these skills are so small. And I'm sitting here going, well, have you seen the camera button on there? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, can you hit the record button? Have you ever recorded it? Yeah, I can do that. Well, just do that on your face. And it's like, so I understand their new skills. But I'm sorry the world moved. Like, it just, like, what do you want to say? Like, I'm sorry, but like, it did something. Like, we're in COVID. You gotta wear masks and you can't go. Like, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And we can have empathy, but we also, I have people who are in their 70s. So here's another hysterical thing, dude. This guy in my industry, his name's David Lycan. He's hosted a radio / podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He's 70, doing a podcast that he's done for like 20 years. And people were like, well, I'm too old. I'm like, are you 70?
He's an OG. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's recognizing it. And then it's realizing it's got to become a priority.
And one thing is too is all consistency. It's
Yeah.
always consistency, and reputation is the mother of all skill set is something that what it is. You have to practice. And it doesn't matter what we do. We practice our sales skills, practice cold calling, practice sending an email, practice playing basketball. Whatever we do, we have to practice. And that's the thing is people will make a video, just like you said, or put something out there, but they don't get the affirmation or the instant dopamine effect of the likes, and then they get they're not motivated anymore.
We're such small-minded people, and we were talking about this with a good friend. The reach of social media is so insane. You can do a video that gets no likes and no comments and 200 views, and you would go home and be like, "I'm a piece of garbage. No one liked my video," and I would sit there and go, "You just talked to 200 people." Can you put 200 people in this room? Like, not even a chance. You talked to 200 people. Maybe your messaging wasn't right. Maybe you should learn. Maybe you should check your camera angle. Could they even hear you? Were you muted? Like, there's so many ways to go on that, but you talked to 200 people.
Yeah.
From your garage. Like, this is scale. This is opportunity. This should be exciting. And this is the gold rush, man.
There's the gold rush. I 100% agree. I think of course, this pandemic has put the foot on the accelerator, has accelerated digital branding by 100 miles an hour. We're running at, and everything is getting more and more connected. But that comes back to, I would like to understand from your experience of coming from a big corporate company to from the branding, from the corporate image down to the sales side or balance as well. How's that aligned? Because I know a lot of companies out there, a lot of people watching could understand, it's like, how does corporate branding and how does a personal branding work?
Well, first you have to peel back a little bit deeper.
Okay.
A lot of times when I hear people say, we're all about corporate branding, I don't want personal branding, they live in a scarcity mindset. They're afraid that if somehow their salesperson brands themselves, it's all about them, forgetting that salesperson's whole job is to drive revenue to the company. So that's the person you got to figure out how to support. You work for them. Like, I hate that. Like, the salespeople, like, if they all left tomorrow, I don't care how amazing your products are, you have a problem.
Yeah.
You have a significant problem.
Just pulled it,
So your operations could be on fire. Salespeople are important. And so let them be important. Like, let your ego go for 2 seconds and let them build an incredible brand of themselves, of who they are as salespeople, because they're feeding you. They're feeding the company. I've watched that scarcity when it gets let go. It's that old, like, that old stupid meme with like the CEO and the CFO, and they're like, we can't afford to train our people. And they're like, well, what if we don't, can we afford if they don't get trained? It's like, it's the same principle to a degree. You want to empower your salespeople to be dynamic and to grow their business. They have to have as strong a personal brand as your company. Because when they look at the salesperson, they're going to make a decision. Do I like you? Am I going to work with you?
Correct.
And if they have that connection, if they've seen them on video, if they've seen their family, if they want to show their family, if they've seen them working out, if they've seen them at their church or charity or whatever it is, and they go, I like this person, they're going to win the sale. They're going to win the deal.
Yes.
They're connected. They're connected.
Thank you for that. And I love that, the way you put that in a short perspective of how it is, because companies out there don't know, should they train? Should they just have branding, or the people brand? Because sometimes the salespeople want a brand, but they're trying to follow the corporate brand policy, or vice versa. But for companies out there, the companies need to lead from the front. The corporations, the managers, the CEOs need to be the example and also train their people on this platform. As I know with your company, with LoanDepot, they, as yourself, as being the you're spearheading the branding, spearheading and giving everybody free guidance and training online anywhere.
Look, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have guide rails.
Yes.
I'm not saying you shouldn't coach and train and help people understand. And like, we have serious regulation in my world. You can't say certain things without like making it an ad and putting in disclaimers and having your license number up. So like, we have to help and coach. Like, this is how you do it well. This is how you do it not well. And at the same time, every company has to make that decision. But I think if you try to withhold the person back, not let them self-express, not let them go deeper on who they are and what they're passionate about and what kind of a sales professional they are, and humanize them, then look, how hard, if I called you and we're good friends, if I called you and was like, sir, I need a favor. I'm moving next weekend. I need some dudes to help me move some boxes. You owe me, because we're buddies, and you can't just blow me off. You try, or you may hire somebody.
What time is that at? What day?
You try to blow me off.
Let me check my schedule.
But like, everyone can recognize this. If a good friend calls in a favor, you give it to them.
Correct.
Well, if I force my salesperson to just be a talking head salesperson who just quotes my prices and exists at the trade shows and never let them become a human, create human connection, build their own brand, they can't call in any favors. They can't. It's so much harder to tell someone you don't like, I'm doing business with someone else, than it is to look at somebody who you built a relationship with, who you respect. This is common sense.
Common sense, yeah, it is.
But companies are afraid, and I get that. And I think that we have to let go of fear. We got to lean into the abundant world we're in. I mean, you got to unleash your people. By the way, not just your salespeople, your technicians, your engineers, my operations people. As I unleash them to be proud of what they do as a professional, to start whatever they do in social media, to share what they do, I just bring in more goodwill. I bring in more customers. I bring in more opportunity.
I agree 100%. It's not about sales. It's not sales focus. It's myself too. As I've been, tapping on doors, knocking on doors digitally to get a lot of people in all other spectrums of electronics, from supply chain, from manufacturing, from distribution, from everywhere. It doesn't matter if they're an engineer, technician, marketing, operations.
No, it doesn't
they
matter.
all have experience. At the end of the day, it's for electronics. When I'm in, there's an older demographic. I mean, we have a deficiency of young generation coming in, right?
Yeah.
So it's how can we brand and change as a group together to make it sexy again and bring it back again? Because as I say yourself, the mortgage, finance, real estate is very sexy right now. Everybody, as I know, is my family member, people want real estate. Everybody wants to get a real estate license or be a loan officer, because you know what? They see the branding, they see the fun, they see the transactions, they see this, because it's drawing them in.
Yep.
Right. It's drawing them in because of what has happened in the media, where everybody wants to jump in there because it's fun and it's tech savvy and it's going forward. And that's from my side, what I'm trying to do with the Real Talk for Electronics world, is bring in people like yourself to show that another industry, it's not different, it's just a different product.
Absolutely.
It's just a different product. Same thing.
We sell something, we have to produce it. We've got to
produce it, engineer it, the product. Yes.
And we have normally a 20 to 30 day cycle to deliver that. So it's the same stuff, dude. Sell it, produce it, deliver it, 30 days, repeat, build long-term customers.
Correct.
It's the same cycle.
It's the same business model. It's just a different product. You're selling a different product. It's like every business can have this type of model to make it sexy, to bring in a new generation, to embrace, to create awareness.
Yeah.
And that's the number one thing, is to create awareness. And as you're doing yourself public every day. I mean, how many platforms do you right now do you do daily posts on?
5. But I'll say this.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at what platforms to be on, the first thing you have to understand is, where are the people that you want to influence and be a part in their community of? And so, for my world in home finance, that's everywhere people are. So LinkedIn, for sure, business owners, business partners, customers, all there. Facebook, for sure. But it's an aging demographic, right? So, but that's great. Those are homeowners. Perfect. That's who I want to be talking to. Mm-hmm. So Facebook's a gigantic one. Instagram, massive with millennials, huge platform to build influence, has its own language, different style. Twitter there's millions and millions of people on Twitter. It's a good place to be. but each of these require a different strategy. And I'm on TikTok as just to understand it.
Correct.
There's a lot of young people on that are not buying houses yet, but I just met my first mortgage guy that got TikTok famous. 1 million followers.
Yeah.
300,000 to 600,000 views on his videos.
And is he doing educational or fun content for lending, or
he's doing educational, goofy, fun content in the language of TikTok? So it's memes, it's songs, it's bubbles and pointing and dances. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, he just got TikTok famous because he hit the algorithm. And I look at the comments and people are like, can you do my loan in South Carolina? Can you do my loan in California? Can you do my loan in Texas? And I'm like, holy crap, he broke it open. Because the reality is, the platforms are only relevant if they're the community there that you want to influence.
And they connect, and you connect.
Yeah.
And they connect just like the TikTok connects. I mean, that's one thing is, where is it for myself? I've done the due diligence of LinkedIn. How many people in electronics manufacturing is there? There's about 600 million people on LinkedIn. And there's about 6 million people in electronics or manufacturing on LinkedIn, which is unbelievable.
Yeah. So in my strategy on LinkedIn, every single day I'm sending out around 20 personal requests to connect to people that I want to influence in my community on LinkedIn, because you have to continue to grow that space.
Correct.
And engage in that space before you can just start making videos and think everyone's going to turn around and be like, oh my God, thank God you're here. Because they don't.
So let me take that back. So what type of strategy, like you have to research, it takes time. So you're researching, it takes time. And so the thing is that it is a time to put, say, 20 minutes of a day, 30 minutes of a day to research those people, correct?
Look, there's technology today that you can type in the company's name and it'll show you everybody there that's in LinkedIn.
Correct.
So you know your competitors, you know the people you want to sell to.
Correct.
So similar in my business, I find those names. I got it described to me as the ICE strategy: identify, connect, engage. So step one is identify. I can pull data that shows all the realtors in my network, all the business owners, all the people I want to be connected with. I got a list. I make intentional effort every day to make connections out to them with personal messages about, just wanting to connect. And then I have an engage strategy where I go and I comment on their content. I look at what they're doing. I want to be a part of their community.
Correct.
And then, the last E is educate or entertain, which is my turn to come back. But without following that strategy, you don't build a community, you don't build an audience, you don't build connection, and you fail. Because people have to realize it's not about you or me. It's about anybody who's watching this. It's not about me. And so many times on social media, we want to make stuff about me. The second we do that, we lose connection. Because nobody cares about me. They care about themselves.
It's about the community and a service and talk. Yeah, I 100% agree. Nobody wants to talk about, but it's hard for a lot of people because the first thing comes to
especially if you're in sales.
Correct. Everything comes about.
You're like, how can I sell this guy? How can I give them what they need? And maybe we're more savvy and we're like, how can I find a solution for them for a problem? But what you're saying is, how can I sell this person?
That's most of the time it is. It's a solution you want to sell to somebody. What can you do?
We've dressed the language up now to be like, I'm a solutions provider. Like, you just want to sell me something.
Yeah. Well, too. Everybody's a solutions provider for something, right? You're going to sell you something, but it also comes down to the fact of how you're presenting yourself. Are you putting out the reviews? What are you sharing? As I said, I think I saw something you said, like people sharing, oh, I got 5-star reviews once you come do business with me.
It's so stupid. It's the stupidest thing ever. What company do you expect to have crappy customer service? like none. Like none of them, right? Like everyone you work with, everyone you sell to, does anyone expect crappy customer service?
They want excellence.
They expect it. It's a fundamental expectation. So why are you showing me your 5-star review? Like you better have it, dude. It doesn't make you special, man. It makes you Starbucks, and there's one in every corner.
I 100% agree. And that's the one thing.
Hysterical.
You see people sharing that, or they got the award of the year for this or this. And it's like, okay, thank you. We know, great. You're doing a fantastic job. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, it's how to engage and influence. And that's one thing is I want to bring that back is, well, how you call it influencers? That's a very generic name.
Oh, and right? It has a really bad taint to it because of social media.
Well, that's where it started from. The originated kind of.
It didn't. Think about back even before social media. There were major influencers in the world.
Well, like what? Let me say, like what? Like sports, athletes.
You can go with athletes, but go to the business world.
Okay.
There were people in the business world who were really well connected. And you knew that if you went and talked to them and got advice, they could point you in the right way. They were an influencer. They were normally a connector of people. Okay. So we've bastardized it now because we're such a voyeuristic society that we look at Instagram influencers and we're like, they're selling handbags and they're half naked and you're like, yay, and they're getting 1 million followers. And that's trashed and tarnished what really is an influencer. An influencer is somebody who you would go to for advice. That's what an influencer is. Not what we've made it in social media, but a real influencer is someone you'd go to and say, what would you do in this situation? And you'd let them influence you. You'd let them give you advice.
Consult you, give you advice.
Absolutely. Yes. And that, as a definition, we need more of those people.
I think because the influencer on Wikipedia, that has changed. Whoever wrote the influencer, it's about the, you know, so that has, I agree. I think that needs to change because that name is tarnished. Overall, the influencer, we all are influencing somehow, right? Everybody is influencing somebody. You've influenced me. I've influenced you. Absolutely. We're all influencing each other. And that is, as the things, we have to take that back. And I think at the end, it's educating the people, educating people. It comes to education.
It also comes with being in the fight. Like, how many people are invisible? You can't find them. They're hiding. And I'm like, why are you hiding? I'm like, why are you hiding? You have so much knowledge to give. You have so much insight. You have so much expertise, and they can't find you. Why are you hiding? And they have their reasons, but I'm like, you're making a mistake. You're missing an opportunity.
Correct.
And many businesses right now are missing that exact opportunity. They're missing it. It's happening right around them. And they're like, look, Gary Vaynerchuk, what does he do for a living?
People don't know, actually. I bet you half the people don't know what he does. They don't even know. They think he just throws out videos and does profanity out there and tells everybody that's gratitude, empathy, you know, live with that.
That's the new stuff.
That gratitude and empathy. Yeah, everything moving forward. And nobody knows his history. They just didn't even know he runs a multi-$100 million media company.
Dude, that guy had 3 Super Bowl commercials that he was hired to execute in the last Super Bowl. 3. No other media company, you know, even close. And he got hired to do 3.
It's amazing.
And he got hired to do 3 because he puts himself out there and he creates human connection. And the people that like him do business with him.
Correct.
The formula has been it's laid out. It's like the blueprint, the roadmap, it's all laid out. And everyone's like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna go on camera. I don't like how I look, how I sound. I'm like, what you do must not be very important. Or you'd get over yourself. We care so much about ourselves and we forget that nobody else really does.
We care about how we sound.
Oh, of course.
How we speak, how we look.
And no one else cares. You know what they care about? How they look and sound. They don't care how you look and sound. And everyone thinks, no, I can't do it because I don't look and sound good. And I'm like, no one cares, dude. No one cares.
No, I 100% agree. No, but it comes to a certain point. I mean, we're not just saying you dress up coming out of bed, but let's go to that. You're on a good point there. Is now that going to digital age of everything is now virtual, right?
Oh yeah, all this
communication, Zoom calls.
Oh yeah.
So right now, I mean, there is a challenge. I think the first few months, I think we're still in there. There's still some challenges of how people communicate over Zoom calls, how the professionalism, or even the camera angles, how they look. You know,
bro, it's bad.
Yeah, I've seen some.
It's bad. I mean, people are like, I don't want to talk about it. There's like horror stories of people who forget their cameras on.
Oh, yes. I was in a Zoom call recently and I saw the lady, she was made up, but I saw all her nail polish and makeup and everything behind side of her and disaster in the back of the bedroom. She's like, I'm like, does she not notice that I see everything in the background? Her?
Yeah.
And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, you don't have to be 100% beautified or presentable, but look at your background, look at the camera. And, you know, I've seen the angles of, like the camera's down here and it's up
just up the nose.
So that's one thing that I know having in this industry, in all our industry sales, is how can, it's very simple. I think putting a camera, just you look good, you feel the part, have a good background. If not, put a virtual background that's just, you know, stars or a beach that looks good. But what happens is some people don't even, or they're dark.
They don't even turn the camera on.
They don't even turn the camera on.
Dude, it's like this. So people have to realize that where the parallel is. If you're going into a very important business meeting, there's a high likelihood that you're coming prepared for the meeting and you're coming in a good outfit. Pick, you know, I don't care if it's a suit, power suit, slacks. You are putting on an intentional uniform to go to this meeting, and you're bringing your notes and your briefcase because this is an important meeting. You're coming prepared. Got it. If you showed up in shorts, t-shirts, no notes, you're showing disrespect to the people that showed up there to hear your pitch.
Correct.
It's the same thing now with the digital age, is people aren't as fast to realize. If your camera's off, you are disrespecting the people on that call. Period. Disrespect. Now, you might not think it is, because you might think shorts and sandals are fine to a business meeting, but they're not. If you don't invest in a microphone and a camera and light so I can see you, you're disrespecting the meeting. You're coming in shorts and sandals again. And there's a lot of people who are not understanding that. If your camera's like this and I'm staring at half your face and you can't read what's on the screen because you didn't take the time before the Zoom call to set up your environment so that you could be engaged and focused, you're not coming to the meeting prepared. And I'm watching really great professionals being ignored, almost being swept under the rug because they can't show up. They can't figure it out. Meaning their message, what they want to communicate, as important as it is being like crapped on.
Yeah.
Because you can't hear them. There's a dog barking. Somebody's walking in a bathrobe behind them. The camera's up at their nose. And I'm like, you clearly don't think this is very important. And it could be the most important meeting of their day. They just don't know what to do.
Correct.
And so there's grace. Like, hey, let me help you. Like, camera angle up, not down. Like, don't look down at me. No one likes that. Put a light on your face. I can't see you. Put a microphone by your mouth so I can hear you. And make sure so that you don't have underwear hanging behind you on the door, right? Like cross those off.
Yes.
And now we can have effective meeting. But those that can are winning, and those that aren't taking this seriously or thinking it doesn't matter are losing. And they don't know they're losing necessarily, but you're losing this. They're going to lose the sale for sure. If they're in sales and that's how you show up, you already lost the sale.
Yeah. Well, because it's all distraction. And it's like, as I said,
it's massive.
Even to my people is like, well, we work from home. Now it's voluntary. They can come back at certain points and the social distancing thing. But over factors, I tell everybody, when you wake up in the morning, we had the first month, I had the same challenge. My family, my IBS family woke up in the morning and they just got on the camera for the morning meeting. And I'm like, okay, guys, this
is amazing.
We need to I was a little rude about it. I could say I apologize. But I said, you need to take a shower, dress the part, be the part, because you feel more powerful. You feel this place. It's like if you're going to sales, just like you said, you go to a sales meeting. You feel like if I woke up in my pajamas every day and got on a camera, I don't feel like I am inspired or like a powerful, all the energy. But if I put a suit on and I just sit in a seat, I'm like, I feel powerful. I can express.
Changes the whole thing.
Changes the whole dynamic. And that's one thing that I think everybody should understand is there are times to have fun. There are times in team meetings that have fun. But when you're talking to externals or leadership or management, is to be the part and make sure you're. And right now we're going to be in this for another 4 to 5 to a year. We don't even know. Yeah. It's unknown, the time limit. So invest the 50 to whatever it costs, go to Amazon, buy a camera, it doesn't have to be fancy. Just something that people can hear you, people can see you, and it's clean behind your background.
Yeah, it's like your dad teaching you how to tie a tie. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, now this is the new tie.
Correct.
And like, you do not have to have this setup. This is a very beautiful setup. I have studio envy.
Well, thank you. This is your influence.
But you do need to have some intentionality. That's all I'm pushing at. Just put some intentionality behind it, guys.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And one other thing, I like to also share one thing is with you is all the content out there, everybody watching is Alec, all this will be discussing. Everything is out there. You giving everything out for free. And he's pushing it. He's not just putting it on a website, say here, you're pushing it daily. Yeah. And the intention is unbelievable. You're pushing it. You're spreading the message. Today, I think you did start a podcast.
Yeah.
Everybody to start a podcast because we went over. Podcasts are very powerful these days, and it's powerful. People like to listen.
Dude, even for companies to start an internal podcast that could be public and everyone could access it, but just to have one for your own employees to connect in on and get the inner scoop and meet people and hear about this happening and hear about this happen. We're in a disconnected world right now, where we used to have meetings and you could sit face to face and create connection. You used to travel all over the world, making human connection.
Yes.
Everyone has their employees stuck at home. It's really hard to create human connection. So create a podcast and start talking, bringing on your employees on Zoom, sharing what's going on, sharing successes, connecting your people back into the shared mission of your company. Everyone should have one, period. And yet everyone's just going to be afraid and not do it. And then people are going to be dissatisfied and they're going to see others and they're going to be drawn to those communities.
And that comes back to the point of, I think you can wrap this up into a good analogy is the trolls.
Oh, the haters?
Yes, the trolls and the haters.
Oh, they're first of all, they're super. It's pretend. There really aren't any. Not at the level I'm talking about.
I'd love to share the experience that, because as Alec has done some amazing things, I think you shared a troll.
Yeah, my first hater. Yeah.
You shared it publicly and you held it very professionally, but you can see that could have, I would say a lot of people could have turned them off and really basically say that, hey, I'm not doing the right thing.
It's not the trolls that are ever going to bother anybody. So I'll give you two examples. Okay. Number one, when I first released my podcast, I was nervous. I'm nervous because I'm an introvert and I'm insecure and I was bullied as a kid and I hate rejection. So I'm like, perfect, let's do a podcast where everybody can bully me, hate me, and reject me all at once. This is going to sound really good. And I put out my first episode and then I asked people to go watch it. I got a ton of great positive support. People that gave me 5 stars on Apple, people that gave me 5 stars on Spotify, wrote nice comments. And I was like, oh,
the affirmation was amazing.
So good. Yeah. One person gave me a 1 star. And I was like, someone had to just pull me down a little bit. Okay, I got it. And then other than that, after that, it was all positive reinforcement. I'm sure people blocked me that were annoyed by me on Facebook and took me. I'm fine. But they didn't.
Not everybody's gonna like.
They didn't attack me. Yeah. They just moved on, and that's fine. Like, we're not everybody's cup of tea. But I did an episode, and I showed up on a live episode, and I multi-stream on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and I had somebody message me on LinkedIn and basically just tear down my episode. Told me it was too long, told me it was crappy, told me lots of things about how bad it was, wasted their time. And the first thing I did was like, wow, this person must have listened to the whole thing and then took time to write like a 3-paragraph, like, you're a piece of crap, emailing me. And so I just redacted the name and everything and I posted it on LinkedIn.
And it was the most powerful thing that I've seen, and the positive reinforcement you got back to that. I mean, everybody threw analogies. I even put it in there. This guy probably wants to be on your podcast. He's jealous because you get all the support behind you, right? And there are, as I said, those bullies. There are people out there that could bring you down. Yeah. That 1 comment or 2 comments or what it is.
But here's the real bully. The real bully isn't the stupid idiot who I don't know and have no relationship with, who says, why are you making a dumb podcast? The real tragedy is when your loved ones look at you and go, what are you doing? Like, this is not who you are. Yeah. Why are you doing this stupid stuff? Yeah. That's the one that kills your soul. That's the one where, you got to realize who has your back and who doesn't. And that, to me, is the biggest crusher of people putting themselves out there, is the family and friends who don't want them to win and just go, no, go back in your hole. Be small.
The jealousy.
Be small. And by the way, there's 1,000 reasons. It could be jealousy. It could be like, this makes me uncomfortable for you, and we're connected, and now someone's going to see it and they're going to know, now I feel weird. Mm-hmm. But it's just all a be small move. And that, to me, is the hardest thing for certain people to overcome. I'm very lucky. I've put myself out there a lot in my life. And so my wife was like, well, this is just what he does. And so, here we go.
Here we go.
I've wormed her up for this. But I mean, look, you've experienced something. You put yourself out there, and then people in your close circle say, why are you doing this?
I got some criticism. Yeah. I got some, maybe sarcasm or criticism, but at the point, some different circles. And it was hard for me. And at that point, I really realized, are these people really supporting what I want to do, or the mission, or just trying to support the avenue I'm going down as being a friend? Okay, I understand. Enjoy. I hope your success. But instead of, they're trying to push me down. Like, why are you doing this? And
Gary Vee said it the best, dude. He has like a 2-minute video. And I know I've talked a lot about Gary Vee, but he's an inspiration for me and a lot of people. He has a 2-minute video on, so you want to build the tallest building. You got 2 options. Number 1, you build the tallest building. Number 2, you build a good building and you tear down all the others.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just going to focus on building the tallest building. And so that's been that sunk in for me.
That resonated for you. Yeah.
And I realized I'm just going to do what I think is right. And I'm going to push, and I'm going to lean in, and I'm going to be awkward and weird, and I'm going to try new things. I'm going to mess up. But at the end of the day, oh my God, Saurabh, the opportunity, the people I've met, the people that I've connected with across the country now that I could call, the influencers I know, the real ones who can help me achieve things that I couldn't achieve alone, the personal career success, like, it's all on the others, it's all there. And I'm just like, go get it, everybody. Like, everybody go get it.
Well, it's empowering. It powers you every day. It fuels you. It gives you the octane, the high octane you have every day, because it starts, as I said, it's snowballs to a point. And you have to control it, but it snowballs, and it's very empowering. And because you're also changing lives, right?
Just have some freaking fun. Yeah. Sales can be a grind. It can be grindy. You get rejected. You're doing all this work. I have a funny, like, one of my core objectives is to recruit talent to my company. Okay. So that's one of my job descriptions besides all the other things I do to manage the states I manage. And in the old days, recruiting was just power dialing. Do you want to work here? Do you want to work here? Who are you unhappy? Are you unhappy? And I hate cold calling. I hate it with a passion. And so I would be reluctant to do it. But I realize that now it's not about recruiting and cold calling. It's about building relationships. Because I don't even know, let's say you're a high producing loan officer. I have data. I can pull it up. You're an amazing salesperson. You dominate this state. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean I want you on my team. You could be a terrible culture fit.
Correct.
But, I see your numbers, so I go after you. Now I get to make a relationship with you digitally. I get to watch what you do. I get to comment. I get to engage. I get to experience you. And I can find out a lot about you through the internet. And now all of a sudden I realize this guy is a culture fit. And now I can start collaborating with you, not as a peer, not as someone who's recruiting you, but someone who I can learn from, I bounce ideas off of, be in community with. And then all of a sudden, as our relationship grows cross country, cross company, I have the chance to be like, why don't we work together?
Correct.
And so in sales or in anything else, it's all relationship building. And what you're doing through the podcast, what you're doing with your personal brand development, what you're doing to push your own team. I've seen your teammates out on video. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, that's who's hanging out with SoRab.
Lead with example. And I'm doing my best, to show them to put themselves out there.
But that's where the power is, dude. That's where the game is. It's in vulnerability. It's out in the front.
It's so powerful and I love it. And I love the experience. It's just like, as I said, as Gary Vee is an inspiration for you, you are an inspiration for me. You push me outside the realm. You let me be myself. And
how fun is this?
This is amazing.
It's so much more fun than just like cold calling people. And it's going to push your business forward.
It is
not with me, by the way. I'm not going to help you at all, but other industry people in your world are going to help you.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
let's be clear.
Let's be clear. No, but overall, I could say is the inspiration. One thing, as I say, is lives are changing. People are changing lives. You're changing lives every day. You're changing people's lives on the interwebs. You're changing lives of, hey, you have your friends. You change lives for me, and changed my life. Just not with CrossFit Costa Mesa. If you guys haven't, if you had a CrossFit gym, CrossFit Costa Mesa changed my life, which he's the founder, he's the leader and led by example, and it changed my life. And that's how we've met. So there's a lot of things that out there that we're fortunate for. And at the end of the day, it's relationship and putting yourself out there and finding these.
Well, I'll share this sort of if it's helpful for you and your community and your business and your, in every major industry, there's a lack of an authentic voice. There's brands, there's big mega companies, there's lots of money. But there's a lack of humanity in some of these spaces. And the more companies and individuals and leaders realize that they can go into that space and be a connector of people, a collaborator, a sharer of stories, somebody like exactly like you're doing to say, hey, you might be a competitor of mine, but let's come on my podcast. Let's dialogue. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the issues our industry's facing. Let's talk about how we're overcoming them. All of a sudden, that opportunity will open massive doors for anybody in any industry. And it's all there for the taking.
I agree.
If you're just willing
to put yourself
to
out
put
there.
the camera on the face,
the camera face,
it's all there,
and make the uncomfortable comfortable.
Yes,
and that's what it is. It's to make the uncomfortable comfortable and live in that uncomfortness, because as a salesperson, as anybody, that's where you will thrive.
And it doesn't take much. I challenge like loan officers and salespeople: do 10 videos in 10 days. Do Monday through Friday, weekend Monday through Friday. Film 10 videos over a weekend on things that you do to help solve the solutions for other people, like the things that you do to provide solutions to other people. Just 10 videos. There's more than 10 topics for everybody. And I watch on the first video, they're awkward, they're robotic, the camera's bad, the lighting's bad, the windows behind them, they're blacked out, whatever, and I'm like, and then if they're open to feedback, I'm giving them little, hey, do this, turn the camera, do this, put the light on your face. By the 6th, 7th, 8th video, they've relaxed. Their energy's up. They're not scripted. They're not reading something. They're just talking. And I'm like, dude, it doesn't take that much practice. And all of a sudden now they're 1,000 times better. And that's all it takes.
And I think not just better on video, they'll be better in person.
Oh, they're way better in person.
Confidence will be way better. So people don't realize it's not just when you get comfortable on video or on camera, it doesn't just quantify your skills. It does it for your sales skills on pitching in front of an audience, because I think actually a camera is more scarier than audience.
100% it is. Dude, I know people that can get up in a room of 400 people and deliver a great sales pitch or a great presentation. And then you put a camera up and one person in the room and they crumble.
I know. I've done. Hey, I was one of those. I was I can speak in front of people. I have the energy. You first time put a camera in front of me. I mean, Matt's here. He knows he was filming me. And I'm like, da 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 da. I'm like, where did the words go? And I agree. And that's the thing is that I've gone through this and I'm learning by repetition, just like practicing. If anything else, I practice playing basketball. I practice working out. I get better at everything. So, but I really appreciate this. But we'll be closing this out, Alec. What is I could say is two things. Is what do you see in the future for you? What do you see in the next 1 to 2 years in the digital branding? What do you foresee that's going to revolutionize and change? And what direction should people out there really start going for the sales side for companies, brands?
Well, I think that it's self-evident in one degree that if you want to win in your business in the future, you have to have influence at scale in your industry. And I mean, really win. I don't mean like win a sale. Yeah. I mean, like be a major contributor to your industry. You got to have influence at scale with the people in your business. And so if you're a local sales professional, that's like connected to every major, I'll use my world, every major realtor, home builder, restaurateur, politician, business owner, mogul. Like you got to be connected to all those people. And if you can work hard to earn that digitally, because the barrier digitally is so low, you don't have to door knock anymore. Like it's so low. You can find
interwebs are free.
You can find everyone. They're all there. And if they're not there, they're not going to be a player in the future. So move on, find the ones that are there. So the people that are willing to invest in that type of space to build that type of community, in my mind, they're going to dominate and have the best careers of their lives. And the ones that don't are going to be relegated down and down and down to, they're not going to win. I just don't know how else to say it. They're not going to win. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. And I'm heartbroken for those people. That's part of why I'm passionate about this topic, is because I'm like, get the hell out. You deserve to win. You deserve to be out there. And the roadmap is there. Like, so just go execute. But that's my encouragement for people in this space, in any type of leadership or in sales. The opportunity is now.
Correct.
Like, I feel like I am 4 years behind. I'm like, I wish I would have started this 5 years ago. Dang it. And so I'm constantly like, I'm behind. What do I do? How do I play? And I'm a pretty driven guy. So like I'm pressing forward, but man, it's the gold rush, and everyone's saying you're crazy to go to California, man. You're crazy. There's no gold there. You're crazy. And there's a few of us who are crazy enough to put on the stupid headphones and head out west, and we are going to win.
And here we are. Wow, like I really appreciate it. So to people to contact you, find your content, where do they all go?
Google
them. Google Alec Hanson. We will put it up on the stream. Alec Hanson.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, but no one has business cards anymore. Why would you have those? Yeah. My business card is my effort I put into the internet every day. That's my business card. Like, stop.
Have you ever got to that aspect where someone asks you your business card?
I stopped carrying cards. Yeah. I stopped carrying cards probably 6 months to a year ago. And then I always wonder when people go like, how do I get a hold of you? And I'm like, what do you mean?
The face was classic.
Well, like, what do you mean? How do I get a hold of you? You just call me. Well, how do I get your number? I'm like, we can't do business together, dude. Like, I don't know if we're a right fit. I just like slowly back away. But that's the truth, right? Yeah. Like, where do you find anybody? Where they want to be found. And if you don't want to be found, I get it. I just don't feel like you're going to have the success you want.
Exactly. So we'll really thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Alec. I think you just put some serious wisdom and strategy of what needs to evolve, show up and evolve, which is his website. So that's what it is. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you, sir, for everything.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, my friend, to success in the future in digital worlds. And remember, be smart, be thoughtful, be generous.
Boom.
Yeah. And we're out.